After weeks of defiance, Ireland has given in to international demands and is now in the process of formally applying for financial rescue. But what's it likely to cost the UK taxpayer, and is it enough to save the euro? From Westminster, we're joined by Charles Jenkins from the Economist Intelligence Unit. Very good afternoon to you, Mr. Jenkins. Do you agree it is in Britain's national interest to help Ireland?
Yes, I think it's definitely a very sensible decision to work together with our European partners in helping Ireland. It is a eurozone crisis, but it's also a crisis that affects the UK because the UK is so closely intertwined with Ireland, and particularly Irish banks have close links with British banks, and so British banks would suffer severely if they go bust.
In terms of any deal, what sort of compromises do you feel that the Irish government are likely to have to make?
Well, I think that they're going to have to bite the bullet for further really austere fiscal measures, which will make George Osborne's measures here seem fairly mild. Where I think they will probably hold out, possibly successfully, is on demands to increase their corporate tax rate from the present 12.5%, which is very competitive, or almost the lowest in the EU, and which is a major beacon of attraction for foreign investment, and that could be a way of getting them out of the crisis. So I think that they have a good case for standing out on that issue.
The German government spokesman has said that the sooner Ireland receives assistance, the lower chance of others in the eurozone going the same way. Do you agree that's the case?
Not really. I mean, obviously Ireland does have to receive assistance, and obviously the possibility of contagion via the banking system would exist if nothing was done about it. So I'm not saying it's right that the Ireland problem is tackled now, but it's not going to in itself solve the Portuguese problem or the Spanish problem. Portugal certainly has not as bad as Ireland or Greece, but it does have pretty severe problems both in terms of its public sector and in terms of its private sector debt, and it's going to be watched very closely. I think Spain is a bit safer, but it also needs to be watched.
Up until this weekend, the Irish government was saying, no, we're fine to the middle of next year, we aren't going to need this help. Why has it suddenly come to this, and is there another way that they were looking at?
I don't know quite why they held out so long. I think it was obvious for the last week or so. But the reason was that they had tackled their fiscal problems, had deteriorated very radically from a fairly benign situation. But they'd also taken fairly drastic action in terms of public sector salary cuts and tax increases to deal with their fiscal problems. So I think they felt that they had been virtuous, and to some extent justifiably. The problem is that their banking sector is really just about the worst in the whole EU. I mean, we all have banking sectors which have been hard hit by the financial crisis, but the Irish banking sector really makes the other banking sectors look quite healthy, except for Iceland, and that is what's really brought down brought the Irish government to seek aid. It's not its own problems, but the banking sector's problems.
Yeah, interesting. In terms of the euro, do you fear for its future?
Yes, I do, but I don't think it's sort of dramatically changed over the last week or two. I think that the divergence between some of the peripheral economies, which are in deep fiscal trouble, slow growth or even negative growth, and the relatively successful economy of Germany and one or two of its neighbours, does propose a big challenge to the euro area over the medium term. I'm myself personally still optimistic that it can meet that challenge, but it would be, I think, silly to say that there was no risk to the euro area, and I think Herman Van Rompuy was right to say that it does face a crisis for its existence over the longer term.
Okay, economist Charles Jenkins, thank you for your expertise this afternoon.
Thank you.